Welcome to the Pacific Northwest edition of America Outdoors Radio. We've got a fast-paced hour of fishing, hunting, and conservation covering the nation and the Northwest, including 13 extra minutes of local content you'll only hear on Seattle's Sports Radio 950 KJR.
It's Saturday morning, and I'm glad you're here because, as usual, we've got some great local guests coming your way. Bob Loomis with Max Lure will join us at the bottom of the hour, and we're going to discuss a fun trout fishing trip I enjoyed at a lake in Northeast Oregon and why the spinner I was casting was working so well for me and will for you too. At the end of the show, we'll talk to Doug St. Denis. He's the owner of Ridge to River Outdoors. He has been catching pinks out in Puget Sound, and the numbers are much better than expected. Doug will tell you where and how to catch both pinks and coho salmon right now, so you'll want to stick around for that. But first, as we do every week, let's tell you what's hot. Brought to you by your Puget Sound area Sportsman's Warehouse stores in Puyallup, Federal Way, Silverdale, and Everett, where the fall hunt sale is underway. If you are looking for a great deal on a firearm, if you need to stock up on ammo, if you need anything for the season ahead, go there this weekend because this sale ends August 25th. The first thing we'll talk about that's hot is tuna fishing. The Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife reports catches of up to 7+ tuna per angler out of Garibaldi, where the Oregon Tuna Classic is happening this weekend, and there are 3 tuna per angler being caught out of Astoria. Heading north, a friend of mine went out on the Tornado last week out of Westport. The 10 anglers on board that charter came back with 17 tuna each. Now that is some good tuna fishing. Checking in with NorthwestFishingReports.com, angler Gonna Hook It had a fun day on the Puyallup River where his 10-year-old son caught his first humpy out of that stream, and Gonna Hook It did too, but the fish of the day was a brute 26-pound Chinook he reeled in during that same outing. East of the Cascades, Pete Fisher with Mardon Resort reports the walleye fishing remains tough at Potholes Reservoir, but the bass fishing is very good, and a 7-pound largemouth was caught and released by Mike Merzina from the Puyallup Hogs Bass Club. Tuning to Wolf News, several environmental groups are howling mad after the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife killed all 7 remaining members of the Old Profanity Territory Pack in northeast Washington's Ferry County over the last 2 weeks. This was after the predators developed a taste for fresh beef and proceeded to attack livestock on 29 separate occasions in the last year. Environmental groups have issued press releases and taken out full-page ads in the Seattle Times bemoaning the removal of these wolves, claiming the effective livestock owner was not using preventive measures to prevent wolf attacks and that wolves are not a threat to humans, with no attacks reported in the lower 48 states. The Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife, however, has repeatedly pointed out the livestock owner in question has employed a variety of preventative measures to include the use of range riders, and the wolves from the pack were not all killed at once, but over time in an effort to haze them away from the cattle herd so the wolves wouldn't all be killed. Unfortunately, that strategy didn't work as the livestock attacks from this problem pack continued. Now, that pack is gone, and as for wolves versus humans, technically, those environmentalists are right. There have been no fatal attacks in the lower 48 in recent years, but there have been 2 fatal attacks in the last 25 years, one in Saskatchewan and one in Alaska, as well as a wolf attack at Banff National Park in Alberta, Canada, that happened just 2 weeks ago. The wolf in this case entered a tent at a campground at this national park, attacking a sleeping family of 4 from New Jersey. The father, attempting to defend his family, was actually being dragged away by the wolf before a neighboring camper entered the fray and started kicking the animal, which caused it to release its hold on that New Jersey father and run away. The wolf was located and dispatched the following day by Canadian authorities. This story, strangely enough, was not mentioned by any of the environmental groups crying wolf about the fate of the Old Profanity Pack and about wolves in general here in the Northwest. And with that, you are now in the know as to what's hot here in the Pacific Northwest.
That's your first local shot of the outdoors. Now let's see what's going on across the nation. Ready for more local fishing and hunting? You got it. It's the Pacific Northwest edition of America Outdoors Radio, right here on Seattle's Sports Radio 950 KJR.
It's time for another Extended Max Minute, brought to you every week by Max Lure Company. With us again, Bob Loomis. Bob, always a pleasure.
Thank you, John.
So, Bob, as you know, I was down in Northeast Oregon, Wallowa County, got to fish a new body of water. The folks of the Sportsman's Corral and Joseph steered me towards Kinney Lake, little 20-acre lake. It's on private property, owned by the Triple Creek Ranch. Absolutely beautiful place. Easy to fish from shore. Lots of rainbow trout that are stocked in there. Nothing huge, your standard 8 to 10-inch trout. But boy, oh boy, I was using my favorite lure, the Promise Keeper from Max Lure, and I had a great time. Caught several fish, lost several more. It was a magical evening. Tell our listeners why the Promise Keeper is just so darn good for trout at small lakes and on streams.
Well, John, you know, the Promise Keeper, it's kind of a unique lure. It's a castable lure. It has weight. And between the colors, the hook that we have on it, we have a lot of different high UV flashaboos on them to match the color of the lure itself, and a smile blade on there with the wedding ring band. So between the amount of flash and color that you've got, you know, attraction is fantastic. So getting the correct color that you want, you know, for the lake that you're fishing is really the only thing that you have to do.
You know, one interesting thing about the colors in particular, I was fishing early evening and the sun was still on the water to a certain degree. And so I was fishing a dark body, I was fishing a gold blade, and then as the sun got off the water, I changed to a silver blade, went with a white body, and that definitely worked. So, you know, sunlight and blade color and lure color, that makes a difference too, doesn't it?
It makes a huge difference. Getting that correct color for the clarity of the water, the temperature, where you're fishing, how you're fishing, where the sun is at, all of that makes a huge, huge difference. Whether you're using, you know, high UV colors or a more muted, like the black body during the middle of the day, that makes a huge difference for getting those fish wanting to bite.
Well, we are running way long on this Extended Max Minute, but if you're looking for a great lure, look for the Promise Keepers from Max Lure Company. You'll find it at sporting goods stores near you and online at maxlure.com.
Are you looking to reel in the marketing opportunity of a lifetime? Then set the hook, because we've got it right here for you. America Outdoors Radio has sponsorships available, and we offer affordable platforms to reach thousands of listeners interested in fishing, hunting, and the outdoors. Find out more by contacting John Kruse through his website at americaoutdoorsradio.com.
Don't leave yet. We've got one more local shot of fishing and hunting to wrap up the Pacific Northwest edition of America Outdoors Radio.
As promised, before we go today, we've got one last conversation to share with you. It's with Doug St. Denis. He's the owner of Ridge to River Outdoors, and he's been fishing for coho and humpies out in the Sound. Doug, great to have you on the air.
Thanks for having me, John.
So where have you been fishing lately for the cohos and the pinks, and how are you going about catching them?
We started earlier in the year fishing Area 10 for coho. That opened up for us in June, and then we just kept fishing for coho, intermixed with some blackmouth, moving into Area 9. And just this past Friday, a portion of Marine Area 8-2 opened for fishing, and it's been hot.
You know, the pink run was supposed to be absolutely disastrous, about 10-12% of the 10-year average, but I understand that at least the early indicators are it's better than expected.
What I'm seeing out there in the saltwater is looking very promising. In fact, I'm seeing a lot of fish move up the Snohomish River system when I'm down there at Anthony's getting ready to pick my clients up in the morning.
Well, this is good news. How are you catching them? I mean, are you just throwing pink spoons? Are you trolling something?
So we're doing controlled depth fishing, you know, using downriggers. And honestly, I'm not changing my gear that drastically. I'm using an 11-inch Dick Knight extractor flasher. I've been using Red Racer and also Purple Haze. I've got a 16-inch leader with a 3.5-inch pink hoochie on, and it's just been killing it.
How deep are you fishing, Doug?
Early morning, you can start off, honestly, 20 feet.
Wow.
The deepest I've gotten in the morning is maybe 40 feet. And I only go that deep because I'm marking just a ton of fish. Now, later in the day, if you have a late morning start or you decide to fish in the afternoon, we're finding them all the way to 150 feet. So don't be afraid to go a little bit deeper.
Okay, this is great stuff. What is the limit for salmon? Marine areas 8-2 and area 9.
Currently, it's 2 salmon, so you can have either 2 pinks or you could have 2 coho, but your coho have to be hatchery coho. You can't keep any wild coho.
Well, we're going to have to get you on the air to talk freshwater humpy fishing another time because we're out of time. But folks, if you want to book a trip with Doug, just go to his website. It's ridge2riveroutdoors.com. That's ridge2riveroutdoors.com. Doug's got a great boat. He wants to take you fishing for salmon, and the fishing is hot right now. Doug, thanks for sharing this with us today on America Outdoors Radio.
Thank you, John.
That's all for this week, but don't worry. We'll do it all again next Saturday morning from 7 to 8, right here on Seattle's Sports Radio 950 KJR.